in Python, we have inbuilt functions, right? We have inbuilt functions that we'll be talking about. They include, and we're going to talk about them and then give some examples of what they look like and how they are being used. We have the Python comes with many inbuilt functions that can be readily used in any program that one is working on. Some functions enable you to convert data, and others are specific to certain types, like strings. So we have this, we have the absolute, we have the div mode, we have the filter, we have the float, we have the maximum, the minimum, the power, and the range. So we're going to do some examples to see how this built built-in functions work in Python. So let's go to our VS Code and write some line of code. So I'm going to take away this guy off. So let me say I'm trying to give an example of what an absolute is all about. So I am going to print, let me say absolute has to do with, it gives the exact number, like it gives what this number is. It doesn't show a negative sign. It shouldn't be a negative sign. It has to be a positive, like something is really absolute. So let me say I have w equal to, I pass in absolute, right? I then say, oh, I have two variables here, take it off. So I have absolute, I pass in minus 2.5, right? Or it's supposed to be minus 2.5. Then I say print what? Print w. I save it and come here. Are we seeing it's giving me what? The absolute value. It does not negate the value. It gives me the absolute positive value. That's what absolute does for us in Python. So we have the div mode. So the div mode, we'll see what the div mode is all about. So I'm going to use the div mode. So I'm having w2, or let me say x equal to, so we said div mode returns it returns the quotient and the remainder when an argument is divided. So I'm going to, it returns both the what? It returns both the quotient and the remainder. So unlike when we talked about modulus, right? We said modulus returns a remainder and leaves the quotient. So but this, in this case, div mode returns both the quotient and the remainder. So let us see what it is talking about. So I have div mode here, div mode. I'm going to pass in some values, and then I have 5 comma, let me say 5 comma 2, or any value you want to pass in, and then I will say print x, print x. I'll save it. I want to take away this guy or comment on it for us to get a clarity on what we are talking about div mode. So I'm going to run this code. Are we seeing why? If you actually go through a division of 5 divided by 2, you will be getting 2 remainder what? 1. So it's giving us the quotient and then the remainder of a given operation. So we have what do we have next? We have the filter function. So we use the filter functions to actually filter out something from a list of values. So let me, okay, we have here, I have, let me say I have let me say, okay, let me guess an example. Let me say I have numbers, right? I have numbers, list of numbers equal to list of numbers. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, okay, 7, 8, list of numbers. So I'm okay with this quantity. So I'm going to now say I want to pass in a function, right? I want to use a function based on the way you want to declare a filter. So I would say I'll pass in a function and say div, and then say my num. I'm passing my function name, the parenthesis, sorry, you should not indent the indentation. Remember, indentation is important in Python. If you don't indent properly, it's going to throw an error. So I will then say if num is equal to, I'll say I'll pass in a number. Okay, I'll say if num, or let me use x, y. If x is less than, right? What is my less than? If x is less than 5, right? Return false. If x is less than 5, return false. My x here. So it said it did not define x, right? So return false, right? Else return true. So we'll now say I want to now passing we're talking about the filter. We actually want to use filter in this place. Oh, I now said if I passed in a function saying, oh, I have this function, right? And then inside the function I passed in a condition saying I already gave a parameter here, right? And then said if this parameter is less than 5, return false. And if it is actually true, return what? The else statement. And then I would come here and then say, passing another thing again, I will then say num2 equal to filter, I'll pass in my function, my num minus num, the normal num. I'm saying num, I'm trying to now, oh, if this thing is true, if it's a false, display it, and then it will then filter out what, like it's going to now display the answer and then filter out the things that are necessary there. So let us see what it's all about. So I'm going to now say, and then I would want to loop it if I want, and then say for x in num, print x. Let me not use x again. For y in num, print y. So let us save this guy. So we said if x is less than, we're assigning a number and we're trying to pass an if statement that if x is less than 5, that is if a number is less than 5, a parameter which we have assigned into our function is less than 5, that it should return. And if we check all these numbers, like, and let me say an abstract number is less than 5, return false. And if it's true, it should take the else statement and return it true. And we then said, because we said less than 5, right? So it's now going to filter out the one that is true. And now because we said less than, even I said greater than 5, it's now going to filter the ones that are less than 5. So this is what it's doing. So because we said less than, which is actually true, we have numbers that are less than 5 in there. So it's now going to what? Filter the ones that are not less than 5. It's going to take away the ones that are less than 5 and then filter and then bring out the ones that are what? That are greater than 5. That is why we are having this 5, 6, 7, 8 here. So we now said, I looped it. I now looped this variable here for me to be able to get it in a well displayed manner. So I can't, let me say if I have this guy here now, if I have greater than here, right? We have greater than here, right? And then say if x is greater than 5, right? Print it now, return true or else return false. So we have numbers that are actually greater than 5, right? So it's going to return what? True, because there are numbers that are actually greater than 5. So I'm going to now run this code. I will save it first and run it. Are you seeing? It's now giving me one numbers between 1 to 5. So this is how we work with filter in our code. So we'll be talking about the max and the max and the mini. We said the max returns the largest item in an iterable operation, and the mini returns the smallest item in an iterable operation. So let us see what we are talking about, right? So I'm going to pass in what? I'm going to pass in x and say equal to max. I'll say 5 comma 10. Then I'll then say print x. Print x. Sorry. Print x. Save it. Then run my code. Are you seeing? It's printing for me the maximum number in an iterable operation. Max prints the maximum number. So if I put a mini here, that is minimum, it's going to print a minimum number, which is 5. 5 is the minimum number in that code, in that operation there. So this is what min and max does for us. So we also have the range function. We've mentioned the range function before in our code, so we'll still talk about what the range function does. So we have, let me say, we have the range function. We pass in x equal to range, then passing a value 10 inside it. We can say print range, and then we can just directly assign something inside. We can just directly use this. Let me use this example. I can say x in range, right? Then x, I want to assign a for loop, sorry, using a for loop with the range for x in range. Then I pass in 7 inside it. Remember, we talked about range in our previous class. And I'll say print x. So range, is going to print from 0 to what? 0 to 6, because it has a default start as 0. So I'm having 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is what all this built in Python functions are all about. So thank you guys for the class. See you in the next class. Thank you.